Hello everyone, it's January 2nd, 2018. Happy New Year. I'm on a long ass car ride right now. If I told you where I went and what I did, you'd be like, if I told the story, I'm not planning on it now, but I might have to. But no, what I want to do is tell my ghost stories that I have, or my interactions with deceased people that I knew at one point before they passed away, and then, you know, I'll communicate with them, usually in the dream states when it happened. But I'll tell two. I got a lot more than this, but these happen close to each other, kind of. First one, I grew up in Fairhope, Alabama, all right, but I moved away in 1998 to Maryland to live with my dad after my 10th grade year. And like when I did live down there, a couple of our close friends, I had this group of friends when I was like 11 years old, and we all played baseball, and we were all like really cool. We always got the hottest girls, but we were bad, and we were a pretty tight little clique back then. But a couple of our friends died really young, and things just got weird. Like a lot of us got into like drugs and alcohol, and we went our own ways. But in 2006, during the summer, I came down to Alabama. I went to Bonnaroo actually, and then ended up in Alabama after that. And I linked up with my friend named Brad LeBlanc, who I hadn't seen or talked to since like '98. He used to be a good friend of mine, and he was like, "Why don't you come work for me? I'm building piers." And so I did. I quit working Ruby Tuesdays where I was, and I started working with him. Now the first day of work, this kid named Nick comes over there, and I had never met this kid before, but he looked like two of our good friends that died mixed together. This kid, he looked like Jonathan Glover and Jamie Moore, like, combined, and he was a really cool kid. Like, I automatically clicked with this dude, and we didn't even barely get any work done for the first week. We were having too much fun. And so I remember that day, he was like, instead of going to work, he's like, "Hey, look, give me a ride over Mobile, you know, I'll pay you well." He was like, you know, and then we went and did something. And I saw the people he was meeting up with, and I'm like, you know, these are like serious people, like serious, like gangsters, like down south, like, you know, like they're not the type of people that you want to be like not on point with. And I mean, Nick was having a lot of fun, you know, but he also was being slightly careless, you know. So I told him, I'm like, "Look, dude, you know, you need to be like on point dealing with these people if you're gonna deal with them." And so I stayed up for like a week or like 5 or 6 days when I was down here having fun. Me and this kid Nick hung out like every day for like 2 weeks, and I ended up going back to Maryland, and I kept in touch with him. He called me like once or twice, and I kept in touch with Brad. Well, October 21st, 2006 was when Nick died, and he got shot. This dude over Mobile, one of those people that I went over there with him, shot him and killed him. And so I remember I got that phone call, and I was really distraught over it. And I'm like, wow, you know, because I knew him pretty well, even though I only knew him for a couple weeks. I hung out with him enough and had enough deep conversations, because we talked about death a lot and like friends that died. And he had a brother that had passed away almost 7 years to the date of him dying. It was his only sibling, and I got to meet his parents when I was down there. So his parents set up this memorial page for him on MySpace, and his mom was obviously upset. I mean, she was writing me, you know, because I tried to explain the stuff about numbers to him and stuff, and she was just like, well, you know, she was upset, you know, and the best thing I could do was tell her, you know, look, y'all have a grandchild on the way, Nick's at peace, he's with his brother, you know, because I didn't know what else to say, man. It was like really, it was distressful to me to read these emails. And so this was got to be like the beginning of 2007. I had a dream over at my girlfriend's house, and I wake up, all right, and we start doing our thing, and then within like 2 minutes into it, I'm like, holy, I had to stop, because the dream, I remembered it all of a sudden. Nick was standing there in my dream giving me this like grin, like, I know something you don't, but it was really vivid, and he was like standing up against the wall. And I remember when I remember the dream, we had to stop what we were doing. My girlfriend was a little annoyed by that because she was enjoying what was going on. I'm like, no, I gotta write his parents. So I get up, and she's still bitching because, you know, I guess she was about to, you know, she was about to feel really good. So I'm like, no, I gotta show you this picture. And on my MySpace, I had one picture of Nick. I had 16 pictures, so it's 4, 4, 4, and 4. So I pull up the picture to show her, and the one picture of this dude Nick is just blurred out. All you can see is this like faint silhouette on the picture. All the other pictures were normal though. and it's just the one picture of Nick I had. And so then she realizes there's something more, you know, she's like, oh my God, you know, now she calms down. So I write his parents on his page. I'm like, look, I had this dream. I think Nick wants me to let you know he's at peace, blah, blah, blah. Well, and then the picture stayed like that for about 6 hours before it went back to normal. And I wish I took a picture of it, because never before or after that did any picture do anything like that on my MySpace account. And so a couple months go by, and I know that there was still an investigation. Like, they had never arrested anyone for murdering Nick, but even though they knew who did it, they didn't have any proof, you know. And so when I go down to visit in March, they told me that his dad woke up, read my email, and before he even got a chance to say anything, his wife wakes up and is like, you won't believe this dream I had. And like, what she described her dream was just how I described it in the letter I wrote to him. But anyways, yeah, the dude that, the police officer's name, the FBI agent that arrested the guy, his name was Rusty, it turned out, finally. The dude finally got charged after, like, I don't know, a year of investigation. So that's one. And I haven't really had any dreams of Nick ever since then. It was just that one vivid dream. All right, and then I got another one. My friend James, it was my sister's old boyfriend. His birthday was 1/11 and mine's 11/1. He called me. He was actually with me on the date of November 11th, 2006, when all that, you know, like crazy stuff happened to me, that psychic stuff. But I was out in Colorado, and he called me one night, and he said he'd been calling me from jail. He was in jail, and he had a cell phone somehow, and he was like in this gang, like this prison gang, because he'd been in prison for a long time for some fight he got in like after high school, and some dude got hurt real bad, and he did like 8 years. But so he had a phone in there, and he's calling me, and he was like, he didn't know my sister had gotten injured and, you know, was off in rehab. And so I'd kept in touch with him for a few weeks, and I'm like, look, I'm out in Colorado. If you want to come out here, I'll get you a job. You can't be stealing and doing shady stuff. And well, then he calls me like 2 days later, and he's like, I'm out. This is on August 24th, 2007. It was either the 21st or the 24th. And he's like, I'm out. I didn't expect him to get out that quick. And I was like, dude, are you getting high? Because he had a heroin problem a long time ago. And he's like, no, I'm not high yet. He's like, I smoked like a ½ ounce of weed today, though. He said he was smoking it in the holding cell waiting to go to court. And so then he's like, if you still want me to come out there, I'll make an appearance. And I'm like, dude, why don't you wait and try to stack up some money? Because I didn't even ask the people I lived with yet. And I just moved out there. And I didn't want to just be like, hey, my friend's popping up out of nowhere. So I told him to try to stack some money and then save up and then come out here. Well, he calls me up later that night, and he's like, dude, I need to get out of here. He's like, I'm stuck in some neighborhood. He's like, he kept saying he was going to die. And I was like, call Kippy. And Kippy couldn't get him. Kippy was in Harrisburg. And he called me back again, and he was like, pray for me, Rusty. He was like, all intense. He's like, pray for me. He's like, I love you. And I was like, why? He was like, no. He was like, just pray for me. He's like, the signs are pointing to bad, is exactly what he said. I remember him saying the signs are pointing to bad. And then I don't hear from him. I get a month later, I get an email from some girl saying they'd found him in Baltimore in some bro house, and it was that night, I guess, he died, that I talked to him. But I was really upset. That was like one of the few times I've been really, really upset, because, you know, the intense conversation I had with him right before he died, and I knew him well on that metaphysical, my world opened up the same day his did with all that stuff. Like, we both like entered together into this, you know, other world of mystical stuff that I didn't ever believe existed. And so a couple months, no, it was all right. So it was like March of 2008. I had this dream of him, and in the dream we were in the ghetto, like in a really bad neighborhood. It was like street lights lit. It was like glass and stuff everywhere. And my friend Chris Long was in the dream too. But it was like, and James walks up. I was like, dude. And he was like, dude, I should kick your ass. He was all pissed off. I was like, James, dude, and I tried to give him a hug. He was still mad. I was like, James, you died. And he was like, what? He's like, how? I was like, James, you died. I don't know, dude. You're dead though. And he's like, huh? Like, he looked all like surprised by it. And I'm like, dude, I love you. And I gave him this big hug. Well, I wake up, and I'm like, damn, that was weird. And I go check my MySpace page, and the first thing, I get a message, and it said, yo, it's Hoops. And that was his nickname. I was like, what the fuck? And I click on it, and it says, yo, I just got out. Let me know when the next party is. And it took me a minute before I realized that, it took me like probably a few minutes for it to register. He had written someone on my MySpace page like a year and a half prior to that, and they had just responded, but it still had the title, yo, it's Hoops, like he wrote it. So, I got a few other stories like that. Some pretty good ones actually, but those two happened within a year of each other, I'm guessing. Both the incidences. When I went to, last time I got real clean, like no nicotine, no nothing. This was in jail last year whenever my mom died, and I had like 9 of these dreams, like in real close proximity to each other. And I might post about them more. I don't want to be too long-winded, but I'm kind of liking this storytelling stuff I got going on. All right, Happy New Year, everyone. Love y'all.